I wanted to give a mention of a much slighter experience versus what you've just described there. I often browse retro achievements. I mentioned it before on the show to try and get ideas for what older games I might like to try next.
Yeah.
And as a quick aside, when this episode goes live, as of yesterday in real time, Retro Achievements will have just launched their GameCube achievement support via Dolphin, which is a huge deal, and it might give Nintendo fans a reason to revisit some of the first-party bangers from that generation. You know, they do such a good job on that site. It's just a site that keeps on giving, honestly. Anyway, the game that caught my eye recently that went up with the new set was called Apotris, and the name featured the tris suffix. The icon featured a tetramino, and so I was immediately in. Turns out it is a semi-modern homebrew implementation of Tetris for the GBA, for the Game Boy Advance. And in itself, this would have been enough to make me at least give it a play, like I have 100 other Tetris ports before it. But upon downloading, boy howdy, have I been blown away. Like, this is a sensational Tetris port. Really good. Back when I was making hard drop episodes for YouTube, this is some deep lore for podcast heads, my short run series on weird Tetris ports that I was doing in lockdown to give you a sense of, you know, what I was up to. I looked at a homebrew game then called Lockjaw, and it was on the GBA as well. And its basic goal was to be like a Tetris toolkit that would allow players to customize almost every element of the Tetris experience, from gravity to rotation speed to scoring, in order to help players kind of practice and up their competitive game, no matter which version they were familiar with. So it was a very dry, very utilitarian approach to Tetris. And although it played really well, outside of the novelty of playing it for that episode, when I researched it, I never felt the need to go back because it was very functional and it just didn't have any personality. Apotris, it takes almost every lick of potential customization from Lockjaw, like almost the full spread. It adds in modes that duplicate almost every variation of Tetris gameplay, from the Game Boy original to Tetris DX's Ultra mode, right up to Tetris Effect's Zone mode. Like, the full spread is in there. It lets you customize palettes. It lets you customize your Tetramino sprites if you can be bothered. It's like the full works. And then on top of that, it says, do you want a really good soundtrack? Do you want all these extra kind of bells and whistles to give you things to do? And then finishes things off with what I honestly feel might be the lowest input latency I've ever felt in a Tetris game.
Wow.
And I think it's going to become what will be my new go-to for a quick Tetris fix, because it rivals Tetris 99 for snappiness of feel. That's the game I enjoy the most for the feel of it in my hand. It rivals almost any of the Nintendo developed entries for pick up and playness, even with all these options. And the Retro Achievements integration is just honestly the icing on the cake, because it gives a range of goals that cover all the modes and skill levels and the stuff to actually work towards and do if I kind of want a bit of a challenge. For a Tetris fan, this is superb stuff. It's great. You know, at time of recording, there is just a few days left until my summer holiday begins, as I've already said. I'd been playing a lot of Tetris Effect anyway, because it always helps keep me sane when it's kind of, you know, a bit heavy going at work. And as much as I love that game, my favourite game of all time, according to our list, its real strength is in its kind of wider journey and progression. And so it takes kind of a decent play session to really get the full Tetris effect. You know, to just play a stage, you have a nice time, but it's not the same as going through 20 stages and really feeling things evolve as you go.
Yeah.
So to discover like a fresh version of Tetris that's this immediate and this fun and this, you know, good feeling to play, it's game changing. Like, it can be up and running in seconds. There's enough variety here that it doesn't get boring. And Tetris is always going to be great, providing it's programmed nicely. But Apotris is probably the most surprising Tetris kind I've played in years. Like, really shockingly good. A great find. And I'm having a truly lovely time just playing Tetris.